On this episode of China Uncensored, hostage situation. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your negotiator, Chris Chappell. You know, doing business in China is tricky. For starters, it could turn out that the things you're buying are actually made by prisoners of conscience in labor camps, like Masanjia. Then there's the risk that you'll be hacked and your intellectual property will be stolen. A recent study by the US found that 50 to 80% of intellectual property theft originated in China and cost the United States about $300 billion a year. But things were taken to a whole new level when an American businessman was actually taken hostage by his Chinese workers. Chip Starnes is the 42-year-old CEO of Florida-based Specialty Medical Supplies. On June 20th, disgruntled workers at one of the company's medical supply factories in Beijing took him hostage. The workers said they hadn't been paid in 2 months and wanted proper severance pay. Chip said they had been paid and they weren't going to get severance pay because they weren't going to be fired in the first place. Of course, taking your boss hostage might constitute ground for termination. So we'll get back to the workers in a minute. My question is, why didn't the local government do anything? I mean, this is a foreign businessman who was taken hostage. Shouldn't someone, I don't know, get him out of there? I mean, police were actually there, but they apparently thought it was fine for someone to be held against their will and didn't do anything to get Chip out. Considering secret police will come knocking on your door in the dead of night if you've criticized the government online, why can't they get off their butts when someone's actually being taken hostage in the nation's capital? If U.S. workers were holding a Chinese businessman in the States, I'm pretty sure something would be done. I mean, even if the workers had legitimate complaints, he should be held by the state, not inside of a factory by disgruntled workers who have been torturing him with sleep deprivation. Do the police think this kind of thing is okay? Basically, the only thing local authorities tried to do was to get Starnes to sign contracts that would meet workers' demands, rather than trying to get him out of the factory. Now back to the workers. Basically, right now we can't know whether or not they have or haven't been paid for the 2 months. It's kind of their words against his. But the severance thing is pretty interesting. Chip came to the factory to personally fire 30 workers in a department that was being dissolved. I guess he felt a hands-on approach would be good, but big mistake. Usually advisors caution against foreign businessmen doing that because there is a threat and it's best to let local managers do the termination. Now, those laid-off workers were given severance pay, but basically what happened was that all the other workers there panicked that they were next on the chopping block, and so they took Chip hostage. And I don't blame them for the panicking, not the hostage taking. Manufacturing in China is slowing down, and firing workers and not giving them severance pay, withholding wages, has become a pretty common phenomenon. More recently, failing business owners are just skipping town altogether, so I guess the workers were preparing for the worst. In general, workers don't really have a good time of it in China. And since, as we've established, authorities don't do jack, they feel like their only choice is to take matters into their own hands. So the justice system in China is a non-entity. The good news is that Chip was released today, not because of help from authorities, but only because he caved and agreed to pay the 2 months' wages that may or may not have been paid in the first place, as well as the severance packages, which is insane because he said he'd probably just end up rehiring most of the same people who held him captive. According to the Beijing Times, in total he shelled out $300,000. I guess in China your best bet is to resolve legal matters yourself. So what do you guys think of what happened to Chip and the workers? I'll talk about it with you guys in the comments section. As always, check back tomorrow for more new episodes of China Uncensored.